Your access has been revoked. The blunt words blinked on my laptop screen, as cold as the overzealous air conditioning in that downtown Chicago office. Revoked? What did that even mean? I tried logging in again. Nothing. A shiver ran down my spine, and it wasn't from the cold. I'm Sarah Miller, or rather, I was, until about 30 seconds ago, the creative director at Apex Solutions, one of the city's most talked about tech marketing firms. At 36, I hadn't just built a solid career there over 7 years. I'd cultivated a team that breathed innovation, delivered award-winning campaigns, and, most importantly, trusted me. Our Friday bagel brainstorms were legendary. That day had started like any other. I came in early, eager to dive into the final tweaks for the Green Pastures Dairy campaign, a promising new client we'd landed with a bold pitch my team had masterminded. I had just returned from a 3-day bereavement leave. My father had passed. A leave that was, to the smallest detail, communicated and approved by him, by Mark Jenkins, my direct supervisor. "Sarah, my office, now." His voice crackled unpleasantly over the intercom, a stark contrast to his usual morning greeting. Odd. Mark's office was the corner one, glass-walled, innovative, and offering a view of the city's steel canyons. He didn't meet my eyes when I walked in. He just pointed to the chair. "Sarah, Apex is undergoing a talent realignment. We need people fully available and aligned with the company's new strategic objectives." He fiddled with his expensive tie. "Your profile, at this moment, no longer fits." My jaw dropped. Realignment? Objectives? I had just delivered the strategy architecture that secured our biggest revenue quarter ever. The Future Tech Innovations campaign snagged 2 major industry awards just last month, under my leadership. "Mark, what are you talking about? My leave was approved by you. I'm back today, ready to—" "Decisions made, Sarah." He cut me off, finally looking at me with eyes like chips of ice. "HR will walk you through the details. Please clear your station by the end of the day." No plausible explanation, no mention of my performance, just a cold dismissal. I glanced at my desk in the distance. The small succulent my junior copywriter Emily had given me, the framed photo of the whole team grinning at our last company retreat, the colorful sticky notes with concepts and ideas. 7 years of dedication, of late nights, of passion for my work, reduced to a cardboard box. The official justification, attached to the curt email HR sent minutes later, while Mark was already on another call, was failure to maintain adequate presence during critical operational periods. Critical periods? For 3 days of approved bereavement leave? This wasn't a layoff, it was an insult. I didn't cry, I didn't scream. I swallowed the lump in my throat, took a deep breath, and started taking pictures of the termination email with my phone. Then, I forwarded it to my personal account. I shut down my computer, stood up, and began to methodically pack up my professional life. When the first of my team members trickled in, they found half my desk cleared. Ben, our lead graphic designer, was the first to notice. "Sarah, what's going on? Moving offices?" His eyes widened at the sight of the box. "I've been let go, Ben," I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. "What? Why?" Outrage contorted his features. Apparently, taking approved bereavement leave to bury my father doesn't show proper work prioritization. Ben's expression shifted from confusion to a quiet fury. "That's not right. Did you talk to Mr. Harrison, the rarely seen CEO?" "No," I said, carefully wrapping my succulent in a piece of newspaper. "I'm not going to fight it, Ben, but I'm not going to forget it either." From the looks that followed from the others arriving, Emily, David, Maria, I knew they wouldn't forget either. "We need everyone back at their desks." A sharp voice cut through from behind them. Mark Jenkins stood there, arms crossed, his thin face set in a disapproving frown. "We have deadlines to meet." No one moved. "Now," he added, his voice rising slightly. After a long moment, my team dispersed, each giving me a meaningful look as they returned to their workstations. Mark approached me, lowering his voice. "This could have been handled with more discretion if you'd waited until the end of the day to pack up." I met his gaze steadily. "Like the discretion you showed in firing me via email after approving my bereavement leave." His jaw tightened. Business needs change rapidly. Apex needs people who understand that priorities shift. He cleared his throat. "Your father's passing was unfortunate, but—" "Don't," I warned him, my voice deadly quiet. "Don't finish that sentence, Mark." For a moment, something like uncertainty flickered across his face. Then he straightened, adjusting his tie. "Human Resources is expecting you. Please don't make this more difficult than it needs to be." I picked up my box. "Don't worry, I won't make a scene. But remember this moment, Mark. You might find it important later." The Human Resources office was clinical. White walls, minimal decoration, and Karen Thompson's sympathetic but practiced expression. She was relatively new to the company, having joined about 8 months prior, and I could see she was uncomfortable with the situation. "I'm sorry about this, Sarah, and I'm very sorry about your father." "Thank you," I replied, scanning the documents. Standard severance, 2 weeks' pay, a non-disparagement clause, a reminder of my non-compete agreement, which prohibited me from working for direct competitors for 6 months within a 50-mile radius of Chicago. "Is there anything I should know about why this happened?" Karen asked cautiously. "This seems abrupt." I debated how much to share, then decided on the truth. I pulled out my phone and showed her the email. 3 days of approved bereavement leave, and I'm fired for not prioritizing work. Karen's professional demeanor slipped, her eyes widening. "This is the actual termination notice? Just an email? No performance improvement plan? No documented warnings?" "No, nothing." She frowned, making a note on her legal pad. I need to verify a few things with our legal department. Would you excuse me for a moment?" While Karen stepped out, I gazed through the window. From this floor, I could see a sliver of Lake Michigan, its vastness a calming blue. My father had loved sailing on that lake. He'd taught me about patience there, watching the sails catch the wind. "The winds shift, Sarah girl," he used to say, "but a steady hand on the tiller keeps the boat on course. Be steady." Karen returned 20 minutes later, her expression carefully neutral, but her tight smile told me everything. Nothing would change. Unfortunately, Illinois is an at-will employment state. The company is within its rights to— "I understand," I interrupted, signing the documents without further argument. "Apex can do whatever it wants, just like I can." She hesitated, then lowered her voice. "Off the record, this isn't right. If you wanted to pursue action—" "I don't," I said firmly. "But thank you." As I walked through the main office towards the exit, I felt eyes following me. My team watched silently, their faces somber. I gave them a small smile, my last act as their leader. Outside, the February air was surprisingly mild for Chicago. I placed my box in the trunk of my car and sat in the driver's seat, allowing myself a moment to process everything. My phone chimed with a text message, then another, and another. "Ben, this is outrageous, Sarah. What can we do?" "Emily, are you okay? Can we meet up later? Coffee? Anything?" "David, Mark is a spineless jerk. The team is furious." More messages poured in. Expressions of outrage, support, loyalty. These people weren't just colleagues. They were my professional family. I started my car, a plan already forming in my mind. I wouldn't fight Apex directly. I wouldn't sue, though I probably had grounds. No, I would be strategic, patient, like my father taught me. A steady hand on the tiller while the winds shift. My phone rang. It was Michael Davies, the CEO of Nova Creative Group, Apex's biggest competitor in the consumer goods sector. We'd met at an industry conference last year and had kept in touch sporadically. He'd been trying to recruit me for months. It was time to return his call. By the way, if you're enjoying how Sarah's story is unfolding and want to see more twists like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing. I promise it's worth it. Nova Creative Group's office, right on the Magnificent Mile, was a world away from Apex. Open plan, collaborative hubs, and a vibrant energy that was almost palpable. Michael Davies, a sharp man with a no-nonsense demeanor and keen eyes, greeted me with a firm handshake. "Been expecting your call, Sarah," he said, leading me to a sleek conference room overlooking the city. "Though the circumstances are unexpected. Word travels fast in our industry." He already knew about my dismissal, though not the finer, uglier details. I filled him in as we sat, showing him Mark's email. Michael frowned. "That's more than just bad management, Sarah. That's inhumane. Bereavement leave is a fundamental right." "Apex has always put profits before people," I commented. "I just never thought I'd be on this side of their efficiency." "I'll be blunt," Michael said, leaning forward. "I want you at Nova. We're launching a new division focused on lifestyle brands, and your experience is exactly what we need. The position of Director of Strategic Accounts is open. It's yours if you want it." My stomach did a little flip. Director. A significant step up. More autonomy, bigger challenges, and, naturally, better compensation. "What about my non-compete clause with Apex?" Michael smiled faintly. "Our legal team considers those Apex agreements overly broad and likely unenforceable, especially given how they terminated you. If they try anything, we'll back you up." "I need some time to think this through," I replied. "Of course," he agreed. "Take the weekend. We can talk specifics on Monday." That evening, I met Emily and Ben at The Bean and Brew, a cozy coffee shop in Lincoln Park, far from the usual Apex haunts. They arrived looking worried and angry. "How are you holding up? Really?" Emily asked, her voice soft. "Surviving," I managed a weak smile. "But I'll land on my feet." Ben scoffed. "Mark is a fool. The agency is already in chaos. Nobody can find the files for the Urban Eats campaign, and your system access for project management was cut without any handover." "Sounds like his problem now," I said, sipping my latte. Emily leaned in. "It's worse than that, Sarah. It's not just our team. Everyone's talking. They're horrified at how you were treated. If they did this to you, their star director, what chance does anyone else stand?" I confided about Nova's offer. Their eyes widened. "But the non-compete," Emily, who had a paralegal background, mused. "With a termination like that, without just cause, it's a tough sell for them to enforce it." "That's what Nova's legal team said, but it's still a concern." Ben's phone buzzed. He checked it, a frown creasing his forehead. "Mark, emergency meeting. Tomorrow, Saturday. He's never done that before." "The final pitch for Style Hub is on Monday," Emily reminded me, "and nobody can make heads or tails of your market analysis spreadsheets." A small, almost imperceptible smile touched my lips. The spreadsheets were on the server as per protocol, but my organizational logic had its own unique flair. It wasn't intentional, but a flicker of satisfaction warmed me. "I should get going," I said, gathering my purse. "Early start tomorrow." As I stood, Ben caught my eye. "Sarah, this Nova gig, is it just for you? Or, hypothetically, are they looking for more people?" I paused, reading the hope in their faces. Hypothetically, they're expanding rapidly. The look that passed between Emily and Ben said everything. Saturday morning, I met with Eleanor Vance, an employment lawyer a friend had recommended. Her office in the Loop was understated, but exuded competence. I explained my situation, showing her the termination email and my Apex contract. "This has all the hallmarks of a retaliatory, if not discriminatory, dismissal, Sarah. Firing someone for taking approved bereavement leave could certainly be argued as a breach of good faith, possibly even a violation of public policy. I'm not really interested in a lengthy lawsuit," I clarified. "My main concern right now is this non-compete clause." She reviewed the document carefully. This clause is excessively broad. A 6-month ban on working for any competitor within a 50-mile radius of Cook County, that effectively bars you from the industry in this entire metropolitan area, or forces a relocation. It's punitive. But is it enforceable? I asked. In Illinois, it's highly questionable, especially given the circumstances of your termination. Courts here tend to disfavor non-competes that are not narrowly tailored and when the employer has acted in bad faith. Apex would have to prove actual, demonstrable harm caused by your employment elsewhere, which is a high bar considering they fired you. She leaned back in her chair. What's your plan, Sarah? Nova Creative Group has made me an offer. Director level, better pay. Noted? I'd advise you to proceed with caution, but don't let this non-compete paralyze you. Document everything related to your dismissal and the approval of your leave. Over the weekend, my phone was a constant stream of messages from my old team. They described the chaotic Saturday meeting. Mark was pressuring everyone to absorb my responsibilities with no extra compensation or proper training. The Style Hub pitch was in jeopardy. They'd found the spreadsheets, but no one fully understood my in-depth analytical methodology. By Sunday evening, my decision was made. Monday morning, I called Michael Davies. I accept your offer, I told him. But I have one condition. Name it, Michael replied without hesitation. I want to build my own team. If my former colleagues from Apex apply for positions at Nova, I want them to receive fair and priority consideration. Absolutely, Michael agreed readily. If they're half as talented as you, we'd be lucky to have them. That same Monday afternoon, I signed my contract with Nova Creative Group, Director of Strategic Accounts, Lifestyle Brands. The salary was a solid 35% more than I'd made at Apex, with performance bonuses and an excellent benefits package. Leaving Nova's gleaming office tower, a weight lifted from my shoulders, replaced by a thrill of new beginnings, I checked my phone. 6 new messages, one from each core member of my old team. They all wanted to grab coffee, individually.
Tuesday morning, I was at a quiet corner table at the Daily Grind, a low-key cafe in Wicker Park, far from the usual advertising crowd. Ben arrived first, then Emily. One by one, David, Maria, Kevin, and Lisa joined us until we'd pushed 2 tables together.
Apex is imploding, David said bluntly, before the waitress even took our orders. Mark is losing it, micromanaging every single detail. Mr. Harrison was in the office today looking like thunder, and clients are calling non-stop, asking for you, Emily added. Style Hub threatened to pull their account. They wanted to know why you weren't spearheading their renewal and who the rookie was that fumbled the presentation. I sipped my Americano, listening as each shared similar stories of disarray, missed deadlines, and a climate of fear Mark had cultivated. We heard you accepted the offer at Nova, Ben finally said, and the others fell silent, watching me intently. News travels fast, I commented with a slight smile. We want to come with you, Sarah, Emily stated firmly, and the others nodded in unison. I studied their faces, one by one. They were more than colleagues. They were my creative family, my allies. You all have good, stable jobs at Apex. Are you sure you want to risk that? What stability, Sarah? Kevin, our quiet data analyst, asked bitterly. If they treated you that way for exercising a basic right, what's to stop them from doing worse to us for any minor thing? Nova is hiring, I said, choosing my words carefully. I can't promise anything, but I can refer you. Each of you would need to go through the formal application process. We already have, Lisa, our project manager, revealed, pulling out printouts of confirmation emails from her bag. All 6 of us applied yesterday afternoon. I couldn't hide my surprise. My heart swelled. You applied before talking to me? We trust you, Sarah, Maria said simply. Where you go, we go. We learned more from you in a year than from Mark in 5. A surge of emotion washed over me. Gratitude, validation, and an undeniable sense that justice, in its own way, was beginning to unfold. "Let me make some calls," I said, a new kind of resolve hardening within me. The following Monday, my phone rang at 7:30 a.m. The caller ID displayed Diane Fraser, Regional VP, Apex Solutions. She was Mark's direct superior, an executive who rarely got involved in team-level operations unless a 5-alarm fire was raging. "Sarah, it's Diane." Her voice was unnaturally calm. "We need to talk." "Good morning, Diane," I replied, keeping my tone neutral. "What can I do for you?" "I've just received 6 resignation letters, all from your former creative team, all effective immediately." There was a loaded pause. "Care to shed any light on this?" I took a slow breath. "I'm not sure what light you're looking for, Diane. I no longer work for Apex." "They're all going to Nova Creative, where you just started as a director. This doesn't look like a coincidence, Sarah." Her voice hardened. "People make career choices for various reasons. Perhaps you should ask Mark why your top-performing creative team is leaving en masse. This is about your termination, isn't it?" She sounded resigned now. "I've reviewed the situation. Mark didn't consult me before letting you go. I would never have approved it." "That's between you and Mark," I replied, though it is curious how a regional VP isn't involved in terminating a key team director. Diane sighed. "Look, Sarah, I'm prepared to offer you your position back with a 20% raise and a formal apology from the company. We need your expertise. Style Hub is about to walk." "I appreciate the offer, Diane, but I've accepted a position elsewhere." "We'll match whatever they're paying plus another 15%. Desperation laced her voice now. 6 key employees walking out simultaneously is devastating. The operational knowledge, the client relationships. "It's not about the money, Diane." "Then what would it take?" "It would take a time machine," I interrupted, my voice firm, "to go back to when my father died and Apex showed basic human decency instead of punishing me for grieving." The line went quiet. "I have to go, Diane. I start my new role today, and I don't want to be late." "Your non-compete agreement?" she began. "Feel free to have your legal team contact mine," I replied evenly, "though they might want to thoroughly review the circumstances of my termination first." I hung up. What a power move, right? If you're rooting for Sarah and want to see more stories of women turning the tables, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Her journey is far from over. Hanging up with Diane, an involuntary smile touched my lips. Not of malice, but of relief, of one chapter closing and another, far more promising, opening. I walked into Nova Creative that day with a renewed sense of purpose. Michael Davies met me in the lobby, beaming. "We're reviewing all 6 of your former colleagues' applications. They're an impressive bunch. Interviews start tomorrow. Thank you for giving them a fair shot, Michael." "Fair shot? Sarah, they're top-tier talent. Apex's blunder is our significant gain." 2 days later, I received another call. This time, it was Karen Thompson from Apex's HR. "I probably shouldn't be telling you this, Sarah, but Mark Jenkins has been placed on administrative leave pending a full review of his management practices, particularly around leave policies and terminations." "That's good to hear, Karen. Genuinely." "The board of directors is involved now," Karen continued. "Losing an entire specialized team to a direct competitor has set off major alarm bells. They're reviewing all terminations from the past year." By the end of that week, all 6 of my former team members had received and accepted offers from Nova Creative. We met for celebratory drinks on Friday at a lively bar near our new office, raising our glasses. "To new beginnings," Emily toasted. "And to Sarah," Ben added, "who showed us what real leadership looks like." The following week, I received a formal letter from Apex Solutions, sent via certified mail. In it, an acknowledgement of my inappropriate termination and a settlement offer to avoid litigation. I consulted Eleanor and we accepted. Not for the money itself, which I used to make a down payment on a better condo, but for the official admission that they had been profoundly wrong. That same day, the Style Hub account, After learning their trusted creative team was now under my direction at Nova, formally announced they were moving their business to us. They were the first major client to follow. 3 months flew by. I was at the helm of our new division's quarterly results presentation to Nova's executive team. The numbers were compelling. 25% growth in new client acquisition, 2 major accounts secured, one of them, Gourmet Provisions, a former Apex mainstay, and operational efficiency improvements that had cut costs by nearly 20%. Exceptional work, Sarah. You and your team have exceeded every projection, I said. My team deserves all the credit. They've been remarkable. Returning to my office, I found the 6 of them gathered with a simple cake and candles. "What's this for?" I asked, genuinely surprised. "It's been exactly 3 months since we all jumped ship together," Ben explained, a wide grin on his face. "We're celebrating our Independence Day." I laughed. "You guys are ridiculous." "But happy," Emily added. "Seriously, Sarah, everyone is thriving here." It was true. Each of them had blossomed professionally in their new roles at Nova. They had more autonomy, better resources, and were finally receiving the recognition their contributions deserved. Most importantly, they were valued as people, not just productivity units. As we were enjoying our Independence Day cake at Nova, my phone buzzed with a news alert from an industry trade publication. Headline: Apex Solutions announces major restructuring amid client exodus and talent drain. I showed it to the group. "Heard they lost the Urban Eats account last week," David commented while passing around more slices. "That's a big chunk of their Midwest revenue." "And Mark Jenkins is officially gone," Kevin added. "They cleared out his office on Friday. Rumor has it, even Mr. Harrison doesn't want to hear his name mentioned anymore." Diane is trying to salvage what's left, but Maria shook her head. I felt no pleasure in Apex's struggles, only a sense that justice, however convoluted its path, was being served. The company wasn't failing because we had left. It was failing because its leadership had fostered a culture where employees were disposable, where attending your own father's funeral was considered a lack of commitment. To Apex, I raised my water glass, may they learn that a company is only as strong as how they treat their people. And to Sarah, Lisa added with a knowing smile, who showed us we deserved much better. About 6 months after I joined Nova, I received an unexpected lunch invitation from Diane Fraser. She had left Apex and was now an independent consultant specializing in organizational culture change. We met at a quiet restaurant overlooking the Chicago River. Diane looked different, more relaxed. The stress lines around her eyes had softened. "Thanks for meeting me, Sarah," she began. "I wanted to apologize properly for what happened, for my part in it." "You weren't directly responsible for my firing," I reminded her. "No, but I was part of the leadership structure that allowed that toxic environment to fester," she sighed. "After you and your team left, everything unraveled. Corporate brought in external consultants to assess the damage. The final report wasn't flattering to any of us in senior management." I nodded, waiting for her to continue. "Apex, as you knew it, is essentially gone. It's being acquired by a national conglomerate, GlobalNet Corp, for a fraction of its previous valuation. They're basically buying the remaining client list and physical assets. The Apex brand will be retired." The news didn't surprise me. The agency had been hemorrhaging clients and talent for months. "And Mark?" I asked, out of curiosity. "Unemployed, last I heard. His reputation in the industry," she trailed off. "Let's just say your story and the team's departure circulated widely. I hadn't actively spread the details of my termination, but I hadn't hid them either. When asked why I'd left Apex, I told the simple, unvarnished truth. I learned a valuable, albeit painful lesson from all of this," Diane continued. "Now I'm trying to help other companies avoid making the same mistakes." As we finished lunch, Diane asked the question I sensed had been on her mind all along. "Looking back, Sarah, was it worth it? Walking away quietly instead of fighting them more aggressively in court?" I thought about my team at Nova, thriving, motivated, and treated with respect. I thought about the clients who had followed us, who now receive even better service. I thought about my father, who had taught me that sometimes the strongest response isn't the loudest one. Yes, Diane, I replied simply. The results speak for themselves. 1 year after that fateful email that had tried to derail my career, Nova Creative named me Vice President of Operations for the entire Midwest region. My division had become the company's crown jewel, efficient, innovative, and boasting the highest employee satisfaction scores in the organization. Each of my 6 team members had also been promoted, then now led his own design unit. Emily had transformed our client relations approach and was gaining industry recognition. The others had similarly distinguished themselves, their talents finally receiving the appreciation they deserved. On the anniversary of my dismissal from Apex, a small package arrived by courier. Inside was my old succulent, a little larger but thriving, with a note from Karen Thompson, my former HR contact. Rescued this from your desk. Thought you might want it back. Apex is closing its doors for good next week. I placed the succulent on my new office windowsill, where the morning sun streamed in. Like me, it had survived being discarded and had found a better place to grow. That evening, I drove out to the lakefront to a quiet spot near Promontory Point, where my father and I used to watch the city lights. The wind off Lake Michigan was brisk, but the skyline stood firm, a testament to resilience. I thought about how a single moment, a callous email, had ultimately propelled me toward greater success and happiness, not just for me, but for everyone who believed in me and followed. You were right, Dad, I whispered to the vast dark water. Sometimes you just have to hold steady and let the shifting winds carry away what no longer serves you. Looking back on that journey from fired director to vice president of operations, I realized my revenge wasn't about destroying Apex. The company destroyed itself through its own short-sighted choices, its failure to value what truly matters. My revenge was in building something infinitely better, a workplace where bereavement leave isn't viewed as a weakness or a lack of commitment, but as a basic human right, where people are valued for who they are, not just the numbers they produce, where leadership means inspiring and empowering, not controlling through fear. The greatest revenge wasn't seeing the old system crumble, but creating a new one that rendered it obsolete and undesirable. My father would have been proud of that. And today, looking to the future, I feel immense gratitude for the path that brought me here, including the rough patches and the heartaches. Because sometimes it's precisely the worst moments that prepare us for the best outcomes, as long as we remain as steady as the deep roots of a great tree while the river of change rushes on. Sarah's journey is a powerful reminder that even when the odds seem stacked against you, integrity, talent, and loyalty can rewrite the end of the story. Stories like hers inspire us not to give up and to seek justice, even if it means building our own success. If you were moved and inspired by this turnaround, subscribe to our channel right now so you don't miss any of our upcoming narratives. We have a treasure trove of stories about strong women who transformed adversity into triumph. Give this video a thumbs up if Sarah's revenge brought you that sense of satisfaction, and comment below telling us what city or state you're watching our story from today. We love knowing where our viewers are and what resonated most with you in this account. Your feedback is what drives us. And of course, hit that notification bell because the next story might be even more surprising. See you in the next video.